Hi and welcome to Hygge and Homeschool. My name is Maya and today I'm going to be going through all the pics I've made and the stuff that I made myself to teach my daughter in 5th grade, my oldest. It's a heat wave right now where I'm at, so if you hear like a little motor, I have a fan going on me from this side, but let me turn the camera around and I'll show the books here on my desk. So this is some math I'm gonna go through first. I just grabbed these off the bookshelf. This is from 4th grade. When I last shared a video about math, I was just unboxing of 4th grade math with confidence. But we had like a super tough year. We had like a lot of illness in the family. Someone close to us passed away. It's just been a year. And I loved math with confidence, but my daughter, I don't know, it wasn't really her learning style. So her and my husband said, let's get the dimensions math, because we looked online, we looked through a lot, and so we just got this one. She's in the section 4B right now, and we're finishing that up before I order the 5th grade. So that's why I just grabbed the A one. I think she's actually sitting and using the B one now, so I just grabbed this to show you that it's basically the same, just for 5th grade. So there's a 5A and a 5B, and then they have let me just pull these out, all these chapters, and this is just for my own overview. I put this in, and so you could go into, for instance, this one, and then you would do the lesson here. We also got the videos. I really like the videos that they have made themselves. I can't remember her name. I just think they give a good overview if you're stuck or need a little extra help. So I actually subscribe to them too. And then you do lesson 1 here, chapter 2, addition and subtraction, and then you go in here and do the exercises for 1. And that's basically how it goes. And then I also got the test book. I don't know if that's necessary, but because we've already done a lot, both she has Beast Academy online, and she has we started out with math with confidence. I just felt that some of the first ones, if she could do them perfectly in the test, we might not need to go as thorough through the lesson again. And then I got the home instructor's guide. I know there's a teacher's guide, and now I've researched it a little more. And I think next time I would actually, I don't even know why I forgot these. I would get the teacher's guide because it has the colored pictures, and I just feel like I don't know, it's more geared to how I think of it, and math is my hardest subject to teach. I mean, I can do it, but I feel like my husband and daughter has a very different way. They're both mathematical, where I'm more language arts, so we have like a different way of thinking. So I will say, for me, this is actually a harder curriculum to teach than math with confidence, but for my daughter, this is much more the way she thinks. And I can't remember if I mentioned that a lot of homeschoolers I've seen online say that it's not true Singapore math. I am not entirely sure what that means. There's probably a lot of videos you can see what true Singapore math means. But as long as it works, I don't really care. As long as she learns her math and she finds it fun and interesting, I think that's great. But yeah, this is, it's so funny. It's harder for me, but a lot easier for her and my husband. So I guess it's just different ways of thinking, where math with confidence is definitely more my personal style. So yeah, so we ended up using this, and we're finishing this up. And yes, and when I order the 5th grade set, I'm gonna order it with the teachers instead of home instructors. So that was our math. And now for our language arts curriculum. So for daily work, I got her these two. I expected to do a couple of pages in this every morning, and 1 or 2 pages in this every morning for like, this has a little bit of reading and comprehension and spelling. So it's more like, I don't know, warm up. And so I know we get a little bit of language arts in every day, even when we're heavy in a science unit or something. Besides those two, I got her these, the D, E, and F of handwriting without tears. I don't know. I expect to do anything every day. She just really loved the A, B, and C, and I kind of forgot about them. So I just grabbed these, yeah, to have some writing. I don't know now when I'm talking to you guys. I don't really know what I expected. Maybe we will do a little bit every day. I just think they're super cute, and she's really loved writing in these before. And then we have our weekly. I have this one. We do it every Tuesday. We don't do it from one end to the other. I've just been picking and making little lessons. So we have like a Tuesday lesson from this one. And then we do units where I mix in. So every month we have a unit where I mix in writing and reading and comprehension from other things. And let me show you the binders I use for that. So I have these 3. I have a language fundamentals, literature analysis, and a writing one. So for the fundamentals, it's just very normal, like nouns, adjectives, verbs, and so forth, and spelling and vocabulary, and how you use and punctuation and stuff. So it's just very, very, yeah, as you would expect, that we talk a little more in depth about. That is something that I usually put in on Tuesdays, or if there's like a special, like we had a Shakespeare text at one point, and we talked about some of the different words and how we use them different, and so forth. And then for our, I'll take the writing first. For writing, this is for myself, just because I not always remember the American. English is my second language. So here I kind of made my own curriculum to go through with her, and I don't even know what to say like much about it. So when we did, for instance, when we did like a little bit of a science unit, she had to write like a little paragraph about some of the science, and I said you make it like a burger, you make a topic sentence and 3 supporting sentences and a conclusion. That's like an intro to that. So that's what we've done in the past. So this is my notes to what I have been teaching her. So it's basically just my own things, and then other writing could be letters, poetry, and other stuff that we do every day. She has a little, I forgot that for writing, to bring it over, she has, or we all have, all 3 of us, a little poetry book where we write. In periods we've written every morning some poetry, and sometimes we take a little break with that. But this is something that she would do for units. For instance, if we did fairy tale unit, she might write her own fairy tale at the end. For science, she'll probably write a descriptive or informative, depending on what kind of unit, or history, or opinion could also be history. So I kind of use that for the unit studies mainly, and we write a lot there. And then poetry, we write a lot of poetry together. So that is the writing. And then finally, I have the language arts analysis. And again, this is my own little curriculum that I made, and I made it in Danish, so you can't really read it, but this is fairy tales, different types of fairy tales, myth, short stories, novels, poetry, comic book, picture analysis, movie analysis, advertisement analysis, what do you call this, non-fiction, news article, report, biography, debate, speeches, and then authors, where I put in if we have gone into depth with an author. So again, it's like my own little hand. Yeah, now it's in Danish. So, but this was like, how do you recognize the genre of a fairy tale, the characters, the time and environment. That could both be the time it was written, but also that it's usually timeless. That is, there are forests, castles, villages, composition. In Denmark we have, I think you have a little bit different in the English, yes, for the beginning, a middle, and ending, where here we talk about the characters often home and then out and then home. Like Cinderella, she's in her home, it's stable, she lives the lives with the two stepsisters, she goes to the castle as like her adventure, and then she comes home again, a new home with the prince. I don't know, it's just a way. I just used the Danish, and then I took the American too, so we can also use two ways of analyzing, for instance, a fairy tale. So I made all this myself, and we just go with that. So that's our language arts. And then finally I do some language arts history, and my plan is to kind of take her through the Danish language art history from Stone Age until modern time. I want to do like a little podcast or something where I talk it in so she can listen to it, because often if I sit and try and teach her, the toddler will come or something will happen. So I'll see if I made like that little podcast for her. I might publish it here. I don't know. I don't really know what exactly I'm going to do, but that's a plan too. Let me see what else we have for language arts. I think that's it. Most of it is under the units, but then put in to this. So if, for instance, we have some history and they have some myth, we're going to analyze them as part of a language arts. So that's how I do that part. Yes, language arts, that was it for 5th grade. So for science, I also made my own curriculum. We do this Wednesdays and Thursdays. This one we actually read from one end to the other, although there is some places where we jump. And I put little notes, she's just supposed to read this, and then others time she goes into this binder, and again it's me in handwriting that have made different notes, and she has answer my question. So that's very simple. Many days it's just that. Then we have unit studies, and sometimes I stop. For instance, we had a big 3-unit study. That's why I feel she only needs to read this. You can find a video about it on this channel. I might link it below if I remember. But just an example, we have a great unit study about trees and how they did seeds, so I don't expect her to go in depth with that. But if it's something where we don't have, it says plus element book, and here I have the element book, then we would look at that and try to find the different structures. So I combine it with other books for her. And of course a ton of science experiments on top of that. But that's like, or what was it now this year, Wednesdays and Thursdays that we do that. But it's mostly unit studies where we really go in depth. And then I just want to add, and then for my little one, I have these read alouds. She's 3 here in the beginning of 5th grade. So I feel these are good to just put in and read for her, while my bigger one might be doing an experiment on her own if she can do that. Usually we do them together, or if she's sitting and reading this. So that is our science. It's very straightforward. I really love this as a spine just to get through everything. And then I can just put our own experiments and other books about whatever we're in that week or where we're at. So yeah, that is my science. And then again for geography, I had hoped that we had gotten to North America, but we still have a little way to go. I think it's Monday, she reads 2 pages of this. And then there's experiments, drawings, and we do some extra here. We're going to make the salt experiment. So that's every Monday. We go through a few pages. And then when she gets to each of, make the United States puzzle and test if your mommy or daddy knows most states. I can tell you I probably don't. There's always some that I forget. And then we, for each, like we have the North America, we have Central America and the Caribbean, we have South America, we have Europe and Asia. I'm gonna get her more books. I don't know, this is supposed to last also 6th grade maybe, so we can go more in depth. Maybe we'll get through it before. We'll see how fast. Usually I expect at least to do 2 pages every Monday, and then depending on how many experiments and stuff, just read today, so she might read a little longer. We'll see how far we get. But I use this as like my spine, but then of course we have a ton of atlases, we have timelines, we have different things, and I kind of have a lot of the geography in the history, which I'm going to talk about now. So my main spine in history is still, I feel a lot of it is just repetition of 4th grade, but is that we use a history quest as like the spine, because it was hard to pick like a timeline and what do you have as your spine. So I'm using a little bit of the Danish history from Stone Age up till today as a reference spine, and then we just go by them here. So we go Stone Age, Sumer, Egypt, Ancient Americas, and so forth, and we just follow this, and I make it into units. So this is our spine, and we follow their timeline here, and I love them as like a little intro. I have the guidebook too. Sometimes I use something for it and sometimes I don't. Usually I make these last either 2 weeks or for instance this one will be probably a 2-week one, even though this is 4, but this one will also be a 2-week one, maybe even 3 weeks, because I feel I have more about the Mesoamerica. But you know, we'll see where we end. And Greece will probably be a month, and same for India, because then I would have some geography, so that might be 4 weeks. So I don't follow them like that, but I like them as like a spine, because then I know this is the history, this is where we're going. Because for instance this one that I really really love, and that we also use every time, has, for instance, put, if you look here, they don't have the same spine, so that's why I'm very like, we stick to this one. So if you see, they have the Mesoamerica here in the early times and prehistoric, and here in History Alive again, which I really love. We could have gone with either, and they have also amazing text here. they have put the, let me see, I thought I saw they had put the Mesoamerica in a unit here. So we would be going in here when we get to that and read, yeah, the Maya, the Aztecs, so I feel the Incas. So, you know, you could put it, and that is medieval world and beyond. So we just we need to stick to one kind of curriculum timeline. So this is our spine, but these are as much a curriculum as well, because I really love the way that they have descriptions and pictures in History Alive. So that is our history. And then, yeah, I want to add that then it's unit studies. We don't do this every week. Of course, we use it. We talk about it a little bit when we have this every Monday. I try to talk about the history of the place too. But this is more like months. We take a few months out every year to do some intense history study. So yes, so that's our history curriculum. Then I have to add for civics, and I still have the introduction to the world, because we're kind of using this a little bit for civics too. That's why I'm showing it again, not just for geography. So we have all the continents, but then for specifically for North America, I don't know if we're going to jump here or we're going to finish this and then jump on to civics. I'm going to see how we do it. But then let me just grab them. I have some books. That we're just gonna, I thought we would do them 4th grade, but now I've pushed them to 5th grade, so you might have seen me shortly introduce them in 4th. We just didn't get around to do that unit study. So I'm taking a month out to read these as our spine to kind of get into American civics. And then I have a few history books about Californian history and how California came to be. So that's a little bit, and also about the how the law, you know, the city, the county, a state, how all that works together. But that's going to be a month unit study. So that's again not something we do every week. It's going to be a month where we deep dive into all that stuff. So that is our civics. Before I forget, to our civics, or American history, I don't know where to put this. I have this one that we read every morning over breakfast. It is just a fun little, I feel it's great both for my 3-year-old and for my 5th grader. It's just a little story that goes through America's history every morning. And I think this will be like a fun little addition to get to know America more, American history. So that's a little thing I've added to our morning, this book. And I think this will last us the whole year, because there'll be some days, you know, where we, we do other things. So 100 story, probably a school year. Yes. Then for art, let me see, I also have this one. I have this one where we're just gonna go, we read every Friday, we have art. So I just made set of art supplies. So every Friday we're gonna do an art piece. We're gonna learn about one of these artists. A lot of them are in this one, so we're gonna read about them in here. A lot of them, and their it's very heavy, and their art are in this one. So, and we're gonna try and combine a little bit with art history and what happened, how did we get to where we are, what happened in the same period. So I have these artists, and here's different stuff. So we have a line cut kit for number 4, we have clay, I have to make sure we have that home, and some stickers with angels for Raphael, and some pastel before Hygge. And then I have written a little more, and then I found some music that we're going to listen to from the same time period as when we sit and do the art project. But it's just like a very, I don't know if we're gonna read all. It's mainly for me to remember all about Giotto, for instance. I just made this, and I expect this to last longer because it's 45 artists, maybe last into 6th grade. But this is where we're starting out in 5th grade for our art curriculum. Yes, so that was art. So for health and PE, I'm thinking most of it is science. We go through a lot of the body systems in our science book. PE, she does sports. Right now we're in between. She's looking for a new dance school. She does martial arts. I've gotten her a couple of books about puberty and stuff that I'm not going to go into here as much. I feel that's a little bit private. But that is basically our health and PE. I always feel like I'm missing something because health is not a subject that is taught on its own in Denmark. So I'm always in doubt if I'm doing enough or if I'm missing something. We cook together. We talk about food and health, like in general. And she's actually very into that, to cooking. She loves to sit and look in cooking books. And if you can hear, my little 3-year-old just came down with her dolls to play from her nap, so that's nice. So that is it. I don't have that much to say, but that is what we do. If you have any suggestions for anything amazing, of course we've been through all the things, what happens during an earthquake, what happens during a fire, how to call 911, all that stuff. But we have, I don't know if that's a California thing, what's it called, the city, and then night out, where the fire department, the police department, all the first responders come. And last year we went through this, we've done that several years in a row, through this little trailer where there's a kitchen and a bedroom and stuff, and then you have to see how you react to different things, to an earthquake and fire, and you have to turn off the oven and put a lid on if a pot is on fire and stuff like that. So I feel like we cover all that, but more like in everyday life. And honestly, I feel like I'm missing something, because if it's supposed to be its own thing, this health, like, what am I missing? So if you know, put it in the comments. Or else I think that's what I had. Now I'm thinking, am I forgetting something? I don't know. We'll see. I hope you found some inspiration in this video. Thank you so much for watching. That's all for me for now. Thank you. Bye.